Hi, this is Julian, and today I want to talk with you about the topic of millennials. Yes, disclaimer, first of all, I was born in 1987. I'm a millennial. Here's the thing. Millennials get a really bad rap for a lot of reasons, what I think about it, and why a lot of the reasons for the bad rap are absolute bullshit. Here's the missing link that nobody ever speaks about when we speak about the millennial generation. The divine soul blueprint of my generation, of that generation, of the millennial generation, knows better than to accept the workplace, the slavery of going to work from 9 to 5 every day, just because it's the right thing to do and because it creates fake security and the idea of certainty. Millennials in the workplace are not a plague or a spoiled generation. Millennials in the workplace are in revolt, in revolution, in an evolutionary reaction to the workplace itself. And so here's what I mean. Millennials are the generation between the mid-80s to the mid-90s, more or less, right? And millennials are therefore, if you think of it, the only generation, the only generational gap that actually has lived the bridge between the non-technology and the technology society in their own childhood. So that means for me personally, I was about 6 years old when technology got introduced into my daily habits. It was a Game Boy. What was it for you? Leave it in the comment below. And the difference that makes is tremendous, because everybody who came after the millennial generation, everybody who was born after 1993, 1994, grew up with technology toys in their daily reality, especially in the Western cultures, especially in countries like the United States, Canada, Germany, France, England, you name it. Technology, the way it's created, reflects back to us how interconnected we truly are as humanity. The internet and the rise of the internet is not for nothing. It is another reflection of our true oneness, of our telepathic abilities, of our ways to connect, yes, through technology toys. Any generation before that did not have that kind of with their mother's milk, right? So what I mean with that is that any generation who is not the millennial generation or younger looks at life slightly more separated. And you know how the subconscious mind forms. It usually forms in the age between 0 and 14. It's, for a lot of people, a one-way street, like a tape recorder, once recorded, never changed. Upgrade your operating systems. Millennials in the workplace are in revolt, in revolution, in an evolutionary reaction to the workplace itself. The workplace, let's face it, if it is a 4-day week or a 5-day week, the regular workplace, how it is set up, is another form of slavery. It's a human doing. It's a way to get people to be production factors that they know in their souls they're not. And here's the missing link that nobody ever speaks about when we speak about the millennial generation. The divine soul blueprint of my generation, of that generation, of the millennial generation, knows better than to accept the workplace, the slavery of going to work from 9 to 5 every day, just because it's the right thing to do and because it creates fake security and the idea of certainty. Because the divine blueprint in that generation, who was connected with technology from an early age on, is reflected and lived out through the reflection of the internet. Meaning everyone growing up after 1995, 1999, 2000 grew up knowing that they're connected to millions of people around the world. And yes, great marketplace, great ways to make income on the side, great ways to kind of create a new reality. And when we look at the millennial generation, let's remember, this is the bridging generation between the old and the new. The old of the analog and the new of the digital. And don't get me wrong, there's certainly a lot of spoiled ways out there in some of my old iterations of myself. I'll totally acknowledge and admit that. And we have to own up to that to walk our walk and our walk of clarity, this divine soul blueprint, with humility, with grace, but with clarity. Not to let ourselves be swept under the same propaganda that every generation before us has. Those are my 5 cents on the millennial generation. If you don't agree, leave a comment. If you agree, leave a comment. I'm just really curious to get this conversation started. Wherever you are in the world, have yourself a stellar day.